You have a Soros-backed DA, and the whole thing. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution.
Donald Trump yesterday, after being convicted on 34 felony counts for, I think, maybe checking the wrong box on some paperwork when paying his own lawyer for some legal work that was done involving a non-disclosure agreement, which every network and every major newspaper has had women sign, probably every one of them just over the last year. Certainly over the last 10 years, no doubt about that. President Trump says that they have taken in more than $34 million in donations since the guilty verdict yesterday afternoon. The website that was set up to take donations crashed yesterday because of overuse. Quite extraordinary. And let's not forget that the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is praising the anti-Israel protests on campuses across America that the Democratic Party is behind. And now Al-Qaeda's leadership has jumped in to praise the Democrat Party. Just amazing stuff. I tell you, Blaze, getting tons of reaction from people everywhere about your call, and everybody loves you. It's an amazing world. Blaze, a Canadian but Blackhawks fan. You know, you've got to be a hockey fan if you're Canadian, and he's a Chicago Blackhawks fan. I grew up something of a Blackhawks fan myself, and Stan Mikita is his hero. Great stuff. Law professor in Bogota, Colombia, and just a wonderful call. People thinking out there. And Blaze is right. Democracy itself, freedom and liberty itself are under assault in the 21st century from the attacks against Israel that are backed by Iran, and Iran backing the Ayatollah, the supreme leader, backing the Democrat Party, staged and orchestrated and organized, and the protest, anti-Israel, pro-Hamas protests on campuses across America. And now Al-Qaeda jumping in to praise the Democrat Party. You're known by the company you keep, and you're not known only by your enemies, but by your allies. And the allies of the Democrat Party today include the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and the leaders of Al-Qaeda, which now have an arsenal in Afghanistan left behind by Joseph Robinette Biden when he botched that so horribly, so tragically, so inexcusably. Hey, I know, let's give up Bagram Air Base and use the Hamid Karzai International Airport downtown and see if that works out better. Every day is an IQ test. These people, can I just say, these people. Now, one of the things that Blaze was talking about, let's go to soundbite number 20, Jeff. This morning, watching a criminal defense attorney on the Fox News channel, Jana Slibor. Jana Slibor is her name, and seemed to be very sharp, very bright, very articulate. Can you say articulate when you're talking about a white woman? Articulate woman and an attorney, a busy defense attorney. And this morning she was asked what she saw yesterday.
I have been practicing law a lot of years. I have seen bad juries. I have seen biased judges. I have seen power-hungry prosecutors happy to relieve themselves on the Constitution. But we don't normally see all three converge in a single courtroom, in a single proceeding. But we did. In this instance, we did. And the problem is that we cannot let this kind of coordinated corruption stand. It's not just affecting Donald Trump. It's not just affecting any defendant that would be in that situation. This corruption is affecting our entire country, and we cannot sit back like sitting ducks and let it stand.
The world is on fire right now, and Joe Biden is one of the chief arsonists, but really behind the curtain, under the table, the hand jammed up the sock puppet is Barack Hussein Obama, who is the number one source of funding for the Islamic Revolution in Tehran, freeing up tens of billions of dollars for the Ayatollah and for the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps,
Donald Trump was kicking their butts, and Barack Obama is honestly their number one sponsor. Joe Biden came in, gave them $6 billion in exchange for 5 hostages in Tehran. And now in Tehran, the Ayatollah is praising the Democrat Party in the United States of America. You know, Joe Biden was endorsed by Vladimir Putin, not once, but twice as president of the United States. And leftists laugh and shrug it off and say, oh, whatever he says, you can assume the opposite is true. No, whatever you say, I can assume the opposite is true. That's pretty extraordinary stuff. Now, the Ayatollah praising the anti-Jew, the Jew-hating movement that the Democrat Party is behind. If you're an American Jew and you're a Democrat, you need to talk to somebody. You could talk to me. I'm not a professional psychiatrist. I don't have a brain scan here in the radio studio, but I can tell you that you need one. And now Al-Qaeda praising the Democrat Party's anti-Jew hatred in the United States. You think Al-Qaeda, Jeff, are you a Jewish person? I think you're a Jewish man. And you think Al-Qaeda is on the side of the United States? That's Osama bin Laden, the people behind September 11th, 2001 attacks, launching decades of war. And they're not done because their jihad is ongoing. Their crusade will never end until Islam dominates the entire world. And they're doing a pretty good job taking over parts of Europe. In England last year, the number one name for newborn males was Mohammed. And looking in Scandinavia, we're seeing some very disturbing signs there. And in Great Britain, the leaders of the Muslim community there and in the Middle East have said, well, we're taking over Britain by our birth rate, by way of our birth rate. And then it's not like next year. They're thinking 100 years, 200 years, they're taking over. And the Ayatollah is praising the Democrat Party and their glassy-eyed zombie Jew haters on college campuses across America and beyond college campuses. And now Al-Qaeda praising them, too. Isn't that great? Just remarkable. Yes, sir. That's your Democrat Party. So vote for them if you want to die a slave and hand the world, not just the country, over to the most totalitarian butchers on the planet Earth. I was going to say in human history, really the left, the most savage butchers in human history. And the Ayatollah's boys, they're all in cahoots now. Amazing stuff. Isn't that great? Yes, sir. And Just the News has the actual statement from Al-Qaeda, but I don't read that stuff. So it's Arabic and handwritten, not even typed. Amazing stuff. So the Ayatollahs, Al-Qaeda, in bed with the Democrats in bed with the Ayatollah and with Al-Qaeda. Isn't that extraordinary? Thank you very much. And here at home, well, let's go to some more audio here because there is a lot to talk about. Let's go to where do I want to begin this? There are so many absurdities to get to. Well, we can go. Let's go to number 14. And I kind of don't like this part, but let's go ahead and use Michael Cohen, the what do they call him? The gloat, the greatest liar of all time. He was a New York lawyer, a fixer for Donald Trump. He was the guy tasked with facilitating the, they like to call it hush money. It's a non-disclosure agreement. Non-disclosure agreements have been used by pretty much every news organization in New York and in Washington, D.C., most of them again and again. And he was paid $35,000, and here's the check on the front page of the Washington Post today. And that check is from 2017, and they say it was designed to affect the election of 2016. I say that the letter signed by 51 intelligence officials was designed to tamper with our presidential election. And the communist voting, Gus Hall voting, CIA director, made CIA director by Barack Obama, who was mentored by Communist Party member Frank Marshall Davis, and they tampered with our election. I think that the likes of John Brennan, penitentiary face. Brennan laughing up his sleeve when he tampered with our election, saying, well, the CIA's tampered with elections in third world countries, so it's our chickens coming home to roost. I do believe that that is John Brennan's worldview. They're tampering with our elections now. So here is Michael Cohen. He was on MSNBC last night talking to his left-wing friends. He's now the hero of MSNBC because it's about lynching Trump. Michael Cohen last night.
Defense counsel, we're talking about Todd Blanche did an interview on another cable news network this evening. I'll let you guess which one. And he said in that interview that every decision in the case, every substantive decision in the case is one that he made together with Trump.
Makes sense.
Well, I was going to ask you if you see Trump's fingerprints on some of the decisions that you're describing here.
Absolutely. The term
absolutely.
It's a Donald Trump fourth grade playground bullying type.
Nobody brought that up but him.
What's that?
Did you have an acronym for Todd?
I did. I was going to call him a sloat, which is the stupidest lawyer of all time. You cannot listen. You cannot listen to
that. This is our media.
When you are trying to create a defense that is as important as this one is, the very first president of the United States, former president, to ever be charged with a crime, let alone convicted now on 34 counts. It was definitively the stupidest lawyer of all time. Worse than some of the other ones that he has.
Yeah, worse than now this guy, and he's now the hero of MSDNC. He's a maroon. He's a New York lawyer. He thought he was going to be attorney general. I wouldn't let this guy work on parking tickets for me. Just amazing stuff. And he really hates Todd Blanche, the Trump lawyer, and he's going after him. He's a very bitter little man, not a smart man. Let's go to number 15. Number 15 was Senator Marco Rubio, who last night was on the Fox News channel, as was Todd Blanche, the lawyer for Trump. And I've got to say, I'm not dazzled by Tom Blanche or by his defense of Donald Trump in the courtroom or by his defense of Donald Trump on television. I'm not dazzled. Why not a dream team? I mean, Alan Dershowitz, the Harvard law professor emeritus, posted on his video podcast yesterday that he would have been the juror sitting there with his arms crossed, the 12th juror that would refuse to convict. And he would have refused to convict Donald Trump if he had been on the jury. Alan Dershowitz should have been brought in as he was part of O.J. Simpson's dream team of lawyers. And Donald Trump did not have a dream team of lawyers defending him in this. And I think that was an error on Donald Trump's part. And Michael Cohen is not a lawyer that Donald Trump ever should have had for anything. He's a New York schmoop, but never mind that. Marco Rubio last night after the ruling.
This is what you see in communist countries. This is what I grew up having people in this community tell me about. The only chance they have to win this election is to keep Donald Trump in a courtroom tied up in this case, in that case, and the other case.
Marco Rubio's family, of course, from communist Cuba, and he grew up in the community with people telling him about legal proceedings. I'm making quotation marks with my fingers like this. And Marco Rubio is correct. This is the left. These people are effectively commies. The Democrat Party being praised by the Ayatollahs, by Al-Qaeda for their genocidal anti-Semitism, pro-Hamas. Joe Biden building a pier for Hamas, which fell apart because everything he does is a disaster, just like the withdrawal from Afghanistan, 13 Americans and untold numbers of Afghans blown to pieces because Joe Biden is such an idiot. Our country is under siege on our southern border. Gangs from all over the world, tens of thousands of communist Chinese men coming into the country. And our news media shrugs and goes and cheats on their spouses. You know, that's it. And their taxes and their expense reports. You know, a recent study reports that the rapidly declining global birth rate is, could lead to a major population issue if birth rates continue to decline. Well, we may feel hopeless and the constant attacks on human life by you-know-who There's an amazing way to fight back. When they shout abortion, we shout life, right? And preborn is leading the way. Every day, the Preborn Network rescues 200 unborn babies in the United States of America. When a mother sees her baby on an ultrasound and hears the baby's heartbeat, the baby's chance at life effectively doubles. A long and happy life, thanks to the ultrasound. The ultrasound is a secret weapon that joins the heart of the mother with her child. Preborn provides ultrasounds for clinics in the highest abortion areas in the United States of America, and we can join hands for life nationwide. One ultrasound is just $28, but any gift will help of $5 or $10. $5,000 will allow you to underwrite ultrasounds for the entire Preborn Network for an entire day across the country, and all of your gifts are tax deductible, of course. To donate, all you have to do, a donation large or small, just dial pound 250 on your cell phone, and when you're prompted, say the keyword baby. That's pound 250. The keyword is baby. Or online, you can visit preborn.com/plant. That's preborn.com/PLANTE. Save a life. It is. And save America. Save the Republic.
You're listening to The Chris Plante Show.
You know, this Alvin Bragg guy is a George Soros radical and extremist. He ran on the promise of getting Trump, which is completely Soviet-style injustice. He is the Lavrentiy Beria, the KGB chief under Joseph Stalin. Joseph Stalin, the second leading mass murderer in the history of humankind, Chairman Mao being number one, Adolf Hitler perhaps number three. And here's Alvin Bragg yesterday. This sums up. It's all I want to hear from him.
I did my job.
That's it. I did my job. He held a press conference yesterday, and he's a legend in his own mind. I was talking to Michael just a couple of minutes ago about and I've got more audio that I want to get to, but I will get to it in a moment.
This is The Chris Plante Show.
Senator Joe Manchin announced just moments ago that he's leaving the Democrat Party. The West Virginia senator Joe Manchin, the Daily Caller, leaves Democrat Party. Kate Anderson with the story. Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia announced Friday that he was leaving the Democratic Party and registering as an independent. Manchin, who has served in the Senate since 2010 and a member of the Democratic Party for decades, announced the decision on X, saying that he wanted to bring the country together. My commitment to do everything I can to bring the country together has led me to register as an independent with no party affiliation, Manchin wrote. Now, Manchin announced in November that he would not seek re-election for his Senate seat, fueling rumors that the West Virginia senator may be considering a gubernatorial or presidential run, according to the left-wing radicals at Politico. So that's kind of an interesting footnote on the day. But I started to say as we were going away that the, historic days happen from time to time. And Michael Shelton and I were talking during the break and saying that, Michael said, well, this is, this kind of days like this is why we're in this business, right? So yeah, days like this and September 11th and Pearl Harbor and the Kennedy assassination and days like that, Some days are, some historic days are man lands on the moon, Neil Armstrong, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Sometimes historic days are days like that. And sometimes, in fact, more often, I think, historic days are bad news days. And yesterday was one of those. And it's not because it's Donald Trump specifically. It's because Western civilization is under assault and crumbling. And the United States of America, the shining city on the hill, is on fire because the Democrat Party set us on fire along with the police cars and the police stations and the courthouses and so on and so on. They burn, they loot, they savage, they shoot, they kill, they carjack, they rob, they steal, they rape, they murder. And again, the illegal alien that they waved into the country is due in court today for the murder of Laken Riley in Athens, Georgia, a 22-year-old young woman and college student that was attacked by the illegal alien criminal who tried to rape her and then murdered her. And that's going on all over the place, all over the place. Who is Ruby Garcia, another young woman attacked and murdered by another illegal alien, and the Democrat Party waving everybody in. Now, let's go to Governor Doug Burgum of North Dakota, who I actually met at Newsmax one day and couldn't have been a nicer guy, couldn't have been more level-headed and mellow and unpretentious. Very, very successful man in business and that governor, and perhaps more going forward. Governor Doug Burgum asked about the Trump conviction yesterday.
People I haven't heard from a long time, like saying, how can I get involved? How can I fundraise? What can I do? Because I think they understand when Alvin Bragg looked in the camera tonight and said, I did my job, you know who he was talking to? Joe Biden. He wasn't talking to the American people.
And he's talking about the fundraising. In fact, the Donald Trump fundraising website crashed yesterday because of the massive amount of money flowing in. And we're hearing from people that say they've never donated money to a political cause or to an individual, to a candidate ever before, and suddenly decided that they would donate to Donald Trump. People that didn't even vote for Donald Trump are donating to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's poll numbers looking real good lately, and that's got the Democrats in their transgender panic. And now the fundraising, and Donald Trump, I'm going to have for you in just a moment, Senator Ted Cruz on the convictions.
What we saw today was an absolute travesty of justice. This was not law. This was not criminal justice. This was politics. This was a political smear job. This was an attack job. This is what you see in banana republics.
This is exactly what you see in banana republics. There is no doubt about that. All of this is very third world stuff, and it is. I've been warning for a long time that, the left is the third world. Everywhere in the world where the left takes over, you have the third world, and the left is here. Make no mistake. These are not liberals. This is the left. And Ted Cruz, a star out of Harvard Law School, unlike Barack Obama, for example, who also went there. And that's about it. Now, let's go to number 19, because on MSDNC they brought back Chris Matthews from the grave. He's one of the guys there who undoubtedly, he was a sexually inappropriate, let's say, Pound Me Too movement, and one of the reasons he disappeared from there. But they're bringing him back in, rehabilitating him. I'll bet that they had women sign non-disclosure agreements at NBC News because of Chris Matthews. He was on with the leftist radicals last night.
And last night was awful. And Hannity, I've got mixed feelings about a lot of journalists, but I did not understand why they all buckled. I don't get it. It's not important enough. You'll keep your career. You didn't have to do it all like last night. And they're hurting this country. And there's going to be violence. There's going to be trouble. I was just on vacation in Sicily. The airport in Palermo was named after the two judges killed by the mafia. You start talking trouble about the system, when you start questioning the rights of judges to do their jobs and juries to do their jobs, you're in troubling area. This is wrong. There's going to be some problems here, maybe some violence. And this president, former president, should not have done what he did. He should not talk about the system the way they've talked about it.
Well, I don't think he has a problem with the concept of violence.
I don't think he has a problem with the concept of violence, says Mika, representing the party that burned Portland and Seattle and Chicago and Minneapolis and Kenosha. And the list goes on and on. Looted my neighborhood twice and injured thousands of cops and perpetrated billions in property damage over George bleeping Floyd, the junkie career criminal who died of heart failure because of all the fentanyl and methamphetamine in his system. While being arrested, and the police officer they threw in prison for murder because George Floyd died of what would have been a drug overdose if he had been at home. And then the police officer was stabbed 22 times in prison by a Democrat who tried to murder him You guys have been sacking and burning and carjacking and shooting and stabbing, and you shouldn't criticize the system. I'm sorry. Question authority was the most popular bumper sticker, and when I was in California in the 1980s, came from Timothy Leary. Question authority, but you shouldn't question it. And Hannity, and there's going to be violence. Well, then you guys should stop shooting people and carjacking everyone. You bunch of savages. You know, we build prisons because of people like you. They're trying to get the vote to every incarcerated person in America, the Democrats are, because they know the prisons are full of Democrats and Democrat voters. Now, let's go to President Trump. President Trump, I don't think he came down the escalator at Trump Plaza today in Trump Tower in New York City, but he came down for a press conference at Trump Tower in New York City. I do think he should have come down the escalator. It would have been a great way to start this off today. President Trump.
Thank you very much, everybody. This is a case where if they can do this to me, they can do this to anyone. These are bad people. These are, in many cases, I believe, sick people. When you look at our country, what's happening where millions and millions of people are flowing in from all parts of the world, not just South America.
True.
From Africa, from Asia, from the Middle East.
True.
And they're coming in from jails and prisons, and they're coming in from mental institutions and insane asylums. They're coming in from all over the world into our country. And we have a president and a group of fascists that don't want to do anything about it because they could right now, today, he could stop it. But he's not. They're destroying our country.
That's a fact, Jack. And I was texting with Sebastian Gorka, my friend Sebastian Gorka, about the endorsements the Democrats are getting from the Ayatollah and from Al-Qaeda. And they're all one team. They're all on the same team. Team destroy the world. Team destroy civilization. The hard left. And why do the Islamists saddle up with hard lefties? How does that make sense? Well, they both want to dominate and destroy humanity and civil society and freedom and liberty, and they take it all away. The left leads the way. The savages of radical Islam are lightweights compared to the left over the last century. President Trump at Trump Tower.
We just went through one of many experiences where we had a conflicted judge, highly conflicted. There's never been a more conflicted judge. Now, I'm under a gag order, which nobody's ever been under. No presidential candidate's ever been under a gag order before. I'm under a gag order, nasty gag order, where I've had to pay thousands of dollars in penalties and fines and was threatened with jail. Think of it. I'm the leading candidate. I'm leading Biden by a lot, and I'm leading the Republicans to the point where that's over. So I'm the leading person for president, and I'm under a gag order by a man that can't put two sentences together, given by a court, and they are in total conjunction with the White House and the DOJ, just so you understand.
Just and it was completely in cahoots. You know, it was the number 3 guy in Joe Biden's Justice Department that left his highfalutin, career pinnacle job to go to New York to join the lynch mob. He went up there on horseback with a rope in his hand, and he's got the endorsement of Al Qaeda and the Ayatollahs and communist China. President Trump at Trump Tower.
So we have a judge who's highly conflicted. You know what the confliction is. Nobody wants to write about it, and I'm not allowed to talk about it. If I do, he said, I get put in jail. So we'll play that game a little bit longer. We won't talk about it, but you're allowed to talk about it. I hope you do, because there's never been anybody so conflicted as this. As far as the trial itself, it was very unfair. We weren't allowed to use our election expert under any circumstances. You saw what happened to some of the witnesses that were on our side. They were literally crucified by this man who looks like an angel, but he's really a devil. He looks so nice and soft. People say, oh, he seems like such a nice man. No, unless you saw him in action.
Axios, the left-wing rag out of Washington, D.C., with brand new polling numbers, what polls say about Trump's conviction and the 2024 presidential race. Former President Trump's historic felony conviction makes half of Republicans even more likely to vote for him, according to a poll in the verdict's immediate aftermath. Kind of interesting. The results were even more stark along partisan lines, with 50% of Republicans saying they are more likely to vote for Trump. Meanwhile, 44% of Democrats said they're now even less likely to vote for him. Only 44%? I think that'd be 100%. The YouGov poll conducted in the wake of the verdict found that 27% of voters said the conviction made them less likely to vote for Trump, while 26% said they're more likely to vote for him, and 39% said the verdict made no difference at all. Polls, President Trump.
It was a rigged trial. We wanted a venue change where we could have a fair trial. We didn't get it. We wanted a judge change. We wanted a judge that wasn't conflicted. And obviously he didn't do that. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We had a DA who is a failed DA. Crime is rampant in New York, violent crime. That's what he's really supposed to be looking at. Crime is rampant in New York. Yesterday in McDonald's, you had a man hitting him up with machetes, a machete. Whoever can imagine even a machete being wielded in a store, in a place where they're eating, and he's going rampant, and Bragg is down watching a trial.
MS-13, it's standard protocol for them. President Trump.
They're falsifying business records. That sounds so bad. To me, it sounds very bad. It's only a misdemeanor, but to me, it sounds so bad. When they say falsifying business, that's a bad thing for me. I've never had that before. I'm falsifying. You know what falsifying business records is? In the first degree. They say falsifying business records. Sounds so good, right? It means that legal expense. I paid a lawyer, totally legal. I paid a lawyer a legal expense. And a bookkeeper, without any knowledge from me, correctly marked it down in the books. A very professional woman, highly respected, she testified. Marked it down in the books as a legal expense. So a legal expense, paid a lawyer, is a legal expense in the books. It's not sheetrock, construction, or any other thing. It's a legal expense. Think of that. This is what the falsification of business records were.
When Hillary Clinton and the DNC misidentified who they were paying for what, Hillary yesterday had the crowd cheering. She's a very bitter woman. And puffy, too. Have you noticed that? Puffy, looking puffy. I don't think she sleeps well. Face down and full of her own pride comment. I could be wrong.
There's only one Chris Plante. The Chris Plante Show.
Let's get to some of the happier news about what happened last night. A historic and tragic day in American political history.
Now, let me give you the good news. The good news is, last night, we just got a report this morning, in the history of politics, I believe, maybe I'm wrong, somebody will find that I'm wrong, maybe, but I don't think so. They raised with small money donors, meaning like $21, $42, $53, $38, a record $39 million in about a 10-hour period. No, think of that. I like those people.
$39 million, possibly a record for one-day fundraising. And President Trump, while preparing to wrap up his press conference, what's your plan now, President Trump?
So we will continue the fight. We're going to make America great again. Very simple. When people fight MAGA, they say, we're going to fight. I watch Biden. We're going to fight MAGA. We're going to stop MAGA. It's make America great again. That's all it is. MAGA. Make America great again.
That's what they want to stop. That's their goal, is to stop America, President Trump.
But we're going to make America great again. We're going to make it better than ever before. November 5th, remember, November 5th is the most important day in the history of our country. Thank you very much, everybody.
And President Trump wrapped it up at Trump Tower in New York, his event there, addressing the assembled mass. And yeah, it's true. What do the Democrats want to stop? They want to stop any effort to make America great because, oh, listen, they've got the endorsement of Vladimir Putin. Joe Biden does. Repeated endorsements from Vladimir Putin. Now they've got the endorsements, the Democrat rank and file, the mobs of glassy-eyed zombie anti-Semites on college campuses and beyond. They've got the endorsement of the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei in Tehran, and they've got the endorsement of Al-Qaeda. That's your Democrat Party. They're not on our side. Have a great American weekend anyway.